Hello and welcome to a very special session. Today we are not just going to learn history. We are going to use the incredible story of American leadership to sharpen your English listening and speaking skills. This is your graduated reader, a tool designed to make complex history accessible and your learning effortless. So, settle in, take a deep breath, and let the rhythm of history become the rhythm of your English fluency. We are about to explore the lives, challenges, and legacies of the men who shaped a nation, from the very first to the most recent. This is the history of U.S. presidents, and it is your next step to mastering English. Our journey begins with the indispensable figure, George Washington. Imagine a new country, born from a revolution, a fragile experiment in democracy. Who would lead it? The choice was clear. George Washington was not just a politician. He was a symbol of unity and strength. Born in 1732 in Virginia, Washington was a man of the land, a surveyor, and a planter. His early life prepared him for command, first in the French and Indian War, and most famously, as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War. This war was not just a fight for independence, it was a fight for an idea, and Washington was the embodiment of that idea. His leadership during the war was marked by incredible perseverance. He faced defeat, harsh winters, and a constantly struggling army, but he never gave up. His resilience is a lesson in leadership that transcends time and language. When the war was won, many expected him to seize power, perhaps become a king. But Washington's greatest act was his voluntary surrender of his military commission. This simple action established a profound precedent. In America, the military serves the people, and power belongs to the law, not to a single person. In 1789, he was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States. His time in office was dedicated to setting up the machinery of government. He established the cabinet system, defined the role of the executive branch, and ensured the new Constitution was not just a piece of paper, but a living document. He faced immense challenges, including establishing a national economy and dealing with the Whiskey Rebellion, a test of federal authority. Washington's farewell address, delivered in 1796, is a timeless piece of political wisdom. In it, he warned the young nation against the dangers of political factions and permanent foreign alliances. After 2 terms, he again chose to step down, establishing the tradition of a 2-term presidency, a powerful example of self-restraint and commitment to democratic principles. George Washington is often called the father of his country, and his legacy is one of integrity, humility, and the foundational strength of the American Republic. His story teaches us that true power lies not in taking, but in giving back. Following Washington, we meet John Adams, the second president. Adams was a brilliant lawyer, a fierce advocate for independence, and a key figure in the Continental Congress. He was a man of deep intellect, but sometimes a difficult personality. His presidency, from 1797 to 1801, was marked by intense political rivalry between his Federalist Party and the Democratic Republicans led by Thomas Jefferson. His most significant challenge was maintaining peace with France, a situation that led to the controversial Alien and Sedition Acts. These acts limited freedom of speech and the press, a decision that remains a stain on his legacy, but one he believed was necessary for national security. Adams was the first president to live in the White House, moving in just before his term ended. His single term ended in defeat, a testament to the brutal nature of early American politics. However, his lifelong correspondence with Thomas Jefferson, his political rival and friend, is a beautiful record of American intellectual history. Adams' story reminds us that leadership is often lonely, and that even the greatest minds can make mistakes under pressure. The third president, Thomas Jefferson, is one of the most complex and fascinating figures. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, a document that eloquently articulated the ideals of liberty and equality. Jefferson was a true polymath, a philosopher, architect, musician, and scientist. His presidency from 1801 to 1809 is best known for the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. This massive acquisition of land from France instantly doubled the size of the United States, opening the door for westward expansion. It was a bold move that some argued exceeded his constitutional authority, but it was a defining moment for the young nation. Jefferson also commissioned the Lewis and Clark expedition to explore this new territory. His legacy is complicated by the fact that the man who wrote "All men are created equal" was a lifelong slave owner. This contradiction is a central tension in American history. Jefferson's story teaches us that ideals are often difficult to live up to and that history is rarely black and white. Moving forward, we come to Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president. Lincoln's life is a powerful narrative of self-education and perseverance. Born in a log cabin in Kentucky, he rose from humble beginnings to become a lawyer and politician. His presidency, 1861-1865, was defined by the greatest crisis in American history, the Civil War. The war was fought over the issue of slavery and the preservation of the Union. Lincoln's primary goal was to keep the country together. His leadership during this period was masterful, combining political skill with profound moral clarity. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared that all slaves in Confederate territory were free, fundamentally changing the moral purpose of the war. His Gettysburg Address, a short speech delivered at a soldier's cemetery, is considered one of the most eloquent statements of democratic principles ever made. Lincoln won the war and preserved the Union, but tragically, he was assassinated just days after the war ended. His legacy is one of unity, freedom, and the enduring strength of the American spirit. His story is a powerful reminder that the most difficult times often produce the greatest leaders. The late 19th and early 20th centuries brought new challenges, particularly the rise of industrialization and America's emergence as a global power. Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th president, was a dynamic force of nature. He was a war hero, a naturalist, and a passionate reformer. Taking office in 1901, Roosevelt was a champion of the Square Deal, a domestic program that focused on conservation, control of corporations, and consumer protection. He was known as a trust buster, using the power of the federal government to break up large monopolies that he believed were harmful to the public interest. He was also a passionate conservationist, setting aside vast tracts of land for national parks and forests. In foreign policy, he famously advocated the speak softly and carry a big stick approach, asserting American influence on the world stage, most notably by overseeing the construction of the Panama Canal. Roosevelt's energy and optimism redefined the presidency, making it a more active and visible office. His life teaches us the value of energy, curiosity, and using power for the common good. The 20th century then saw the rise of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, the 32nd president, who led the nation through two of its greatest crises, the Great Depression and World War II. Elected in 1932, FDR inherited an economy in collapse. His response was the New Deal, a massive series of programs and reforms designed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. Programs like Social Security, the Civilian Conservation Corps, and the Tennessee Valley Authority fundamentally changed the relationship between the government and the American people, creating the foundation of the modern welfare state. His leadership was characterized by his famous fireside chats, radio addresses that spoke directly to the American people, offering comfort and confidence during dark times. He was elected an unprecedented 4 times, a testament to the faith the nation placed in him. During World War II, he led the United States as part of the Allied forces to victory against the Axis powers. FDR's legacy is one of resilience, innovation, and the expansion of the federal government's role in ensuring economic stability and social welfare. His story teaches us that in times of crisis, bold and compassionate leadership is essential. Following the war, the world entered the Cold War era, and the presidency of John F. Kennedy, JFK, the 35th president, captured the imagination of a generation. Elected in 1960, Kennedy was young, charismatic, and represented a new era of hope and possibility. His presidency, 1961-1963, was short but impactful. He established the Peace Corps, an organization that sent American volunteers to assist developing nations. He challenged the nation to land a man on the moon, launching the ambitious Apollo program. He also faced some of the most dangerous moments of the Cold War, including the Bay of Pigs invasion and the Cuban Missile Crisis, a tense standoff with the Soviet Union that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Kennedy's handling of the crisis is often cited as a model of crisis management. His assassination in 1963 was a profound tragedy that shocked the nation and the world. His legacy is defined by his call to public service and his inspiring rhetoric, encapsulated in his famous inaugural address line, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." His life teaches us the enduring power of idealism and hope. The latter half of the 20th century saw the presidencies of Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton. Ronald Reagan, the 40th president, came to office in 1981, promising a return to conservative values and a reduction in the size of the federal government. His economic policies, known as Reaganomics, focused on tax cuts and deregulation. He is often credited with playing a key role in the end of the Cold War, famously challenging Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev to "tear down this wall" in Berlin. Reagan's optimism and communication skills earned him the nickname the Great Communicator. His presidency is a study in the power of clear vision and persuasive communication. Bill Clinton, the 42nd president, served from 1993 to 2001. His presidency was marked by a period of economic prosperity and a balanced federal budget. He signed the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, and oversaw significant welfare reform. His time in office was also characterized by intense political battles and personal scandal. Despite these challenges, he left office with high approval ratings, a testament to his political resilience and his ability to connect with the American people. Clinton's story teaches us about the complexities of modern political life, where personal and public lives are constantly scrutinized. Finally, we arrive at the 21st century, a period defined by new threats and technological change. The presidencies of George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump each faced unique and defining moments. George W. Bush, the 43rd president, was defined by the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. His response included the War on Terror, the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq, and the creation of the Department of Homeland Security. His time in office was a period of intense focus on national security and foreign policy. Barack Obama, the 44th president, made history as the first African American to hold the office. Elected in 2008, he inherited a severe financial crisis. His administration passed the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act to stimulate the economy and the Affordable Care Act, ACA, a major healthcare reform. He also oversaw the end of the war in Iraq and the mission that resulted in the death of Osama bin Laden. Obama's legacy is one of hope, change, and navigating the complexities of a deeply divided nation. Donald Trump, the 45th president, brought a unique, non-traditional style to the office. His presidency was marked by a focus on deregulation, tax cuts, and a strong emphasis on trade protectionism under the slogan, "America First." His time in office was characterized by a highly engaged base and intense political polarization. The history of the U.S. presidency is a tapestry woven with threads of triumph, tragedy, innovation, and contradiction. It is a continuous narrative of how a nation, founded on revolutionary ideals, has struggled to live up to its promise. From Washington's precedent of peaceful transfer of power to the challenges of the modern era, each president has left an indelible mark. Now, let us use this historical context to practice your English. The language used here is designed to be clear, accessible, and rich in vocabulary that is useful for intermediate learners. We will now repeat key sections, focusing on rhythm, intonation, and flow. Listen carefully to the sound of the words, not just the meaning. Close your eyes and let the history flow into your mind, training your ear and preparing your mouth. George Washington was not just a politician. He was a symbol of unity and strength. His leadership during the war was marked by incredible perseverance. marked by incredible perseverance. He faced defeat, harsh winters, and a constantly struggling army. He faced defeat, harsh winters, and a struggling army. But he never gave up. He never gave up. Washington's greatest act was his voluntary surrender of his military commission. His greatest act was his voluntary surrender. This simple action established a profound precedent. He was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States. Unanimously elected as the first president. He established the cabinet system and defined the role of the executive branch. Established the cabinet system and defined the role. Washington's farewell address is a timeless piece of political wisdom. A timeless piece of political wisdom. He warned the young nation against the dangers of political factions. Warned against the dangers of political factions. He again chose to step down, establishing the tradition of a two-term presidency. He again chose to step down. His legacy is one of integrity, humility, and foundational strength. Integrity, humility, and foundational strength. John Adams was a brilliant lawyer and a fierce advocate for independence. A brilliant lawyer and a fierce advocate. His presidency was marked by intense political rivalry. His most significant challenge was maintaining peace with France. His single term ended in defeat. Leadership is often lonely. Thomas Jefferson was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. A document that eloquently articulated the ideals of liberty and equality. His presidency is best known for the Louisiana Purchase. This massive acquisition of land instantly doubled the size of the United States. He commissioned the Lewis and Clark expedition. His legacy is complicated by the fact that he was a lifelong slave owner. Ideals are often difficult to live up to. Abraham Lincoln's life is a powerful narrative of self-education and perseverance. His presidency was defined by the greatest crisis in American history, the Civil War. The war was fought over the issue of slavery and the preservation of the Union. His leadership was masterful, combining political skill with profound moral clarity. He issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Which declared that all slaves in Confederate territory were free. His Gettysburg Address is considered one of the most eloquent statements of democratic principles. Lincoln won the war and preserved the Union. The most difficult times often produce the greatest leaders. Theodore Roosevelt was a dynamic force of nature. He was a champion of the square deal. A domestic program that focused on conservation and consumer protection. He was known as a trust buster. He famously advocated the speak softly and carry a big stick approach. He oversaw the construction of the Panama Canal. His energy and optimism redefined the presidency. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, led the nation through two of its greatest crises. His response was the New Deal. A massive series of programs and reforms designed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. His leadership was characterized by his famous fireside chats. Offering comfort and confidence during dark times. He was elected an unprecedented 4 times. elected an unprecedented 4 times. His legacy is one of resilience and innovation. Resilience and innovation. John F. Kennedy, JFK, captured the imagination of a generation. Captured the imagination of a generation. He established the Peace Corps. Established the Peace Corps. He challenged the nation to land a man on the moon. Challenged the nation to land a man on the moon. He faced the Cuban Missile Crisis. Faced the Cuban Missile Crisis. A tense standoff that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. His handling of the crisis is often cited as a model of crisis management. A model of crisis management. His legacy is defined by his call to public service. Defined by his call to public service. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ronald Reagan came to office promising a return to conservative values. Promising a return to conservative values. His economic policies focused on tax cuts and deregulation. Focused on tax cuts and deregulation. He famously challenged Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down this wall. Challenged Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Reagan's optimism and communication skills earned him the nickname the Great Communicator. Earned him the nickname the Great Communicator. Bill Clinton's presidency was marked by a period of economic prosperity. Marked by a period of economic prosperity. He signed the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. Signed the North American Free Trade Agreement. His time in office was characterized by intense political battles. Characterized by intense political battles. A testament to his political resilience. A testament to his political resilience. George W. Bush was defined by the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. Defined by the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. His response included the War on Terror. His response included the War on Terror. A period of intense focus on national security. Intense focus on national security. Barack Obama, the 44th president, made history as the first African American to hold the office. Made history as the first African American. He inherited a severe financial crisis. Inherited a severe financial crisis. His administration passed the Affordable Care Act, ACA. Passed the Affordable Care Act. Obama's legacy is one of hope, change, and navigating the complexities of a deeply divided nation. Hope, change, and navigating the complexities. Donald Trump brought a unique, non-traditional style to the office. Brought a unique, non-traditional style. His presidency was marked by a focus on deregulation. Marked by a focus on deregulation. A strong emphasis on trade protectionism under the slogan, America First. Emphasis on trade protectionism. Let us delve deeper into the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln. His presidency is a cornerstone of American history, not just for the Civil War, but for the profound moral and political transformation he initiated. Lincoln was a master of language, and his speeches are a treasure trove for English learners. Consider the Gettysburg Address. It is only 272 words long, yet it redefined the purpose of the war and the meaning of American democracy. Lincoln did not use complex vocabulary. He used simple, powerful words like 7 years ago, new birth of freedom, and government of the people, by the people, for the people. These phrases are not only historically significant, but are excellent examples of clear, rhythmic, and persuasive English prose. For your listening practice, focus on the rhythm of these phrases. The repetition of the people, by the people, for the people, is a rhetorical device called anaphora, which is commonly used in powerful English speaking to create emphasis and memorability. Another key aspect of Lincoln's leadership, and a great lesson for language learning, is his patience and strategic thinking. He did not issue the Emancipation Proclamation immediately. He waited for a military victory, the Battle of Antietam, so that the proclamation would be seen as an act of strength, not desperation. This demonstrates the importance of timing and context in communication. When you speak English, consider not just what you say, but when and how you say it. Lincoln's story is a testament to the fact that eloquence and effectiveness in language come from clarity of thought and moral conviction. Now, let us examine the impact of Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt's presidency was a bridge between the old America and the new. He was the youngest person to become president, taking office at age 42. His personality was as big as the country he governed. His famous quote, "Speak softly and carry a big stick. You will go far," is a perfect example of a balanced, idiomatic English expression. The big stick refers to military power, but the speak softly part emphasizes diplomacy and restraint. For your English practice, this quote teaches you about idiomatic language and metaphor. Roosevelt's dedication to conservation is another key part of his legacy. He used his executive power to protect millions of acres of wilderness, creating national parks, national forests, and wildlife refuges. This part of his story introduces you to vocabulary related to nature, environment, and preservation. Think of words like conservation, wilderness, refuge, and preservation. His actions were not just about protecting nature, they were about securing the nation's future resources. Roosevelt's life encourages us to be active, to be curious, and to use our energy to make a difference. His story is a vibrant source of action verbs and dynamic descriptions, perfect for expanding your active vocabulary. Our focus now shifts to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, a president who redefined the relationship between the government and the people. His New Deal was a massive undertaking, and it introduced many terms that are now common in American English. The fireside chats are particularly relevant for your listening practice. These were a series of 30 radio addresses delivered by FDR between 1933 and 1944. The name itself, Fireside Chats, suggests a warm, informal, and comforting tone. FDR used simple, clear language to explain complex issues like the banking crisis and the war effort. This is an excellent model for you. When you speak English, aim for clarity and connection, not complexity. Imagine you are having a chat with a friend, even if you are speaking about a serious topic. This informal, direct style is a hallmark of effective communication. The New Deal introduced many acronyms that are still used today, such as the CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, and the TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority. Learning these acronyms is a great way to understand how English speakers compress information. FDR's story is a powerful lesson in rhetoric and empathy. He used his voice to calm a nation in crisis, demonstrating that the most effective communication is often the most human. Let us consider the brief but impactful presidency of John F. Kennedy, JFK. His inaugural address is one of the most famous speeches in American history, and it is a masterpiece of parallel structure and powerful verbs. The phrase, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country," is an example of chiasmus, a rhetorical technique where the second part of a sentence is a mirror image of the first. This creates a memorable and impactful statement. For your English practice, try to identify and use parallel structures in your own speaking and writing. Kennedy's challenge to put a man on the moon, known as the Apollo program, is another key element. This era of space exploration introduced a vast amount of technical and inspiring vocabulary. Words like launch, orbit, exploration, and frontier became part of the everyday language. His legacy is a powerful reminder that vision and aspiration are essential ingredients for both national progress and personal growth. His story encourages you to use English not just to describe the present, but to articulate a bolder future. Finally, let us look at the transition to the 21st century. The presidency of Barack Obama is significant not only for its historical importance as the first African-American presidency, but also for the style of his communication. Obama is known for his measured, articulate, and often inspirational speaking style. He frequently uses metaphors and narrative to connect with diverse audiences. His speeches are excellent material for advanced English learners who want to study sophisticated rhetoric and sentence structure. His focus on hope and change introduced a vocabulary centered on social justice, reform, and unity. The Affordable Care Act, ACA, often called Obamacare, is another example of how political events introduce new terms into the common lexicon. Learning about these events helps you understand the context behind the words you hear in the news. The history of the presidents is a living language lesson. Every era, every crisis, and every leader contributes new words, new phrases, and new ways of speaking English. Lincoln's speeches are a treasure trove for English learners. A treasure trove for English learners. The repetition of the people, by the people, for the people is a rhetorical device. A rhetorical device. He waited for a military victory so the proclamation would be seen as an act of strength. Seen as an act of strength, not desperation. Eloquence and effectiveness in language come from clarity of thought. Clarity of thought and moral conviction. Roosevelt's famous quote is a perfect example of a balanced, idiomatic English expression. A balanced, idiomatic English expression. The big stick refers to military power, but the speak softly part emphasizes diplomacy and restraint. His dedication to conservation is another key part of his legacy. His actions were not just about protecting nature, they were about securing the nation's future resources. FDR's fireside chats suggest a warm, informal, and comforting tone. He used simple, clear language to explain complex issues. Aim for clarity and connection, not complexity. The most effective communication is often the most human. Kennedy's inaugural address is a masterpiece of parallel structure and powerful verbs. The phrase is an example of chiasmus, a rhetorical technique. An example of chiasmus. This creates a memorable and impactful statement. His legacy is a powerful reminder that vision and aspiration are essential ingredients. Obama is known for his measured, articulate, and often inspirational speaking style. He frequently uses metaphors and narrative to connect with diverse audiences. The history of the presidents is a living language lesson. Every era, every crisis, and every leader contributes new words, new phrases, and new ways of speaking English. The American presidency is a story of continuous challenge and change. From the founding ideals articulated by Washington and Jefferson. To the crises of war and economic depression faced by Lincoln and Roosevelt. Each leader has left an indelible mark on the nation and the world. Their words and actions are a rich source of English vocabulary and rhetoric. By studying their history, you are not just learning facts. You are internalizing the rhythm and the soul of the English language. Let their stories inspire your fluency journey. Keep listening, keep repeating, and keep improving. Thank you for joining this session. We will see you in the next lesson.